Desperate Allies is one of the harder books to initially want to buy. There is nothing wrong with it at all at face value. It's merely the Diplomat class is one of the lesser played classes, much like the Bard in fantasy RPG games. The Bard has made a bit of a comeback, but for the longest time they just didn't show up in many groups. Like the Bard, the Diplomat class isn't boring and is useful, but it's not as gritty as a soldier or as flashy as an ace pilot. You might get away without needing one in a one-off adventure, but if you're doing a campaign then a diplomat in the party would not be a bad thing at all. One cool thing about diplomats is there is a couple of strong role models to look to, especially if you have a young girl player, like my daughter who is 11. Having Padme and Leia to look to is helpful even when she plays a different class. Both start as diplomat classes, though it can be argued that Leia's changes over time. Neither take any crap from the guys, and they both stand up for what they believe in. There is also Chancellor Valorum and Palpatine, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa, and technically Representative Binks, but we won't talk about him. The problem the class has is it's thought of as a talking one. Sit at the table and negotiate, while outside the ace is blasting things and chasing the local nightlife. It just doesn't seem a very exciting class, even though negotiation is only a part of what the character might do. Opening the 96-page book, it starts with politics in the Age of Rebellion. It covers a surprising amount in a short period. Diplomacy, rebel diplomats, alliances, grassroots support, recruitment, propaganda, and management and logistics are all covered. By the end of the first section, players should be able to see that the diplomats of the rebellion might often be the leaders of a cell. It's their social know-how that pushes in a certain direction, and that's all before Chapter 1. Voices of the Revolution is filled with ideas for a diplomatic character. They have those in every book, and it's always a useful section. It covers advocates, agitators, ambassadors, analysts, quartermasters, and propagandists, and how they get that position from being an imperial outcast, a minority voice, an industrialist, or a dissident artist. It's good, solid info, and not the only options by any means, but it's a good start, especially for someone who is having trouble with their background. There's new diplomatic duties, 3 new species, the Kamasi, Nemodium, whom I like a lot despite Phantom Menace, and Gosum. Basic history and cultural info is provided and the stats to play them. 3 new specializations in the advocate, the analyst, and the propagandist. Along with these comes some new talents, motivations, and signature abilities. Tools of intrigue is more gear, including Leia's pistol from A New Hope, melee weapons, clothing, non-lethal grenades, code equipment, and a nice section on droids. Only thing that would have been cool in the protocol droid section would have been some ideas on how a droid player and a diplomat could work together. They are an easy match, but the droid needs to be more than just fluent in 6 million forms of communication and etiquette and protocol. Just some ideas there would have been helpful. There are new vehicles, including another we saw in A New Hope, airspeeders, a couple of starships, including Padme's from Attack of the Clones. I love new ships, but it's great to be getting ones from the movies. Again, my one complaint is there is not art for all of them. Even line art would be helpful. It's really important that we as GMs and players know what a ship looks like. It's great to have stats for an MC-18 light freighter, but what does the damn thing look like? Diplomatic Missions covers integrating a diplomat into the game. It discusses the Alliance's mission, maintaining and forming relations with worlds and organizations. A decent section on social encounters, how to make it dramatic, should you use humor, strain, and using talents. There are a handful of mission ideas, and there seems less than in some of the other books, but that could be just me. I think that's a good idea, as there is a couple there as primers, but the more pages are devoted to bringing the diplomat to life. Lastly, there are some ideas on how to reward diplomatic sessions. Where I felt the class format books didn't work for aces, it does work very well here. I left Stay on Target feeling a need for information still on my fighter pilot, yet when I look at Desperate Allies I feel I have enough good info to help make my diplomat better. If you're playing Age of Rebellion, I highly recommend this book.